We all think we know the goldfish. They're pretty common, right? But what if I told you that the simple sunlight hitting its tank is actually this incredibly powerful force, one that controls its color, its entire reproductive cycle, and even the quality of the water it breathes? Yeah, it's a way more complex relationship than you'd ever guess.
So, let's start with something you might have even seen yourself. It's a bit of a mystery that a lot of pet owners run into. You bring home this amazing, vibrant fish, but then, over time, something just seems a little off.
Has this ever happened to you? You look into the tank one day and realize your brilliant orange buddy is, well, looking more like a pale ghost of what it used to be. And you start wondering, is it sick? Is it just getting old? Or is there something else at play here?
Okay, so to be fair, a few things can cause this. A change in their environment, the water temperature, even their age. All of that can affect their color. But one of the biggest factors, and one that gets missed all the time, is a lack of sunlight.
To really get why light has such a huge effect, we've got to look a little deeper. I mean, right down to the science happening inside the fish's skin.
It all comes down to these incredible little cells called chromatophores. You can think of them like tiny factories filled with pigment. And when they get hit with light, specifically the UV light that comes from the sun, they kick into gear and start producing more and more color. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a person getting a tan. You know how it works. We spend time in the sun, our skin makes more pigment, and we get darker. If we stay cooped up inside, we get paler. It is the exact same idea for a goldfish. Natural sunlight with those UV rays makes their colors just pop. But stick them under standard aquarium light, which almost never has UV, and those little chromatophore factories slow down, causing the fish to fade.
But here's where the story takes a really interesting twist. That classic bright orange color that we all picture when we think goldfish, that's not even what they're supposed to look like in the wild.
That's right. The ancestors of goldfish, a type of carp, are actually this dull olive green color. All the vibrant reds and oranges and yellows we see today are the result of hundreds of years of people selectively breeding them. It just shows you how much external factors, from human intervention to simple sunlight, can completely change what an animal looks like.
So, we've established that light controls color. Check. But its influence goes so much deeper than that. It turns out that for a goldfish, the amount of daylight it gets acts like a powerful biological clock, especially for reproduction.
This got some researchers asking a really fascinating question. Could you actually manipulate when a goldfish is ready to reproduce just by messing with the length of its day? A study published in the Journal of Chemical, Biological, and Physical Sciences decided to find out.
So they set up 3 groups. One was the control, just getting natural daylight. But for the other 2, after mid-January, they started to play with the light. Group 2 got a long 14-hour day, and Group 1, they got a super long 19-hour day. They were basically tricking these fish into thinking it was the middle of summer.
And wow, the results were dramatic. Just look at the levels of estradiol, a key reproductive hormone, in March. The control group is way down at 0.3, but the fish in Group 1, the ones with those extra long days, they had this massive hormone spike, all the way up to 2.86. Their bodies were completely convinced it was time to breed.
And we're not talking about a small change here. That huge hormonal surge meant the goldfish that were tricked by the long days were ready to spawn 3.5 months earlier than the fish living in natural light. Sunlight isn't just for looks, it's a biological command.
Okay, so we've gone from the cells in the fish's skin to its hormones. Now let's zoom out one more time and look at its entire world, the pond, where sunlight's power takes on this whole new and sometimes dangerous role.
In any pond, sunlight is the engine that drives everything. It fuels photosynthesis, it supports life. But that beautiful balance can be tipped really easily. Too much direct sunlight can actually set off a very dangerous chain reaction.
Here's how it happens. First, all that extra sun fuels this explosive growth of algae. You know, an algae bloom. During the day, it actually seems fine because the algae are pumping out oxygen. But the real problem starts at night. That huge blanket of algae switches from producing oxygen to consuming it. And it consumes so much that it can deplete the water's oxygen levels. So by morning, the fish can literally be struggling to breathe.
So when you put all these pieces together, you start to see that sunlight isn't just some passive background element in a goldfish's life. No way. It's an active, powerful biological trigger with some really profound and interconnected effects. It's really playing this triple role, isn't it? It's the artist that paints the fish's scales. It's the clock that sets its entire reproductive schedule. And it's the engineer that shapes the balance of the very water it lives in. From the cellular level all the way up to the whole ecosystem, Sunlight is calling the shots.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. If something as simple and basic as the length of a day can have such a deep impact on one little fish, it really makes you wonder, what other invisible triggers are out there quietly shaping the biology of the world all around us?